Good afternoon and welcome to Young Climb. I'm more than excited to have you back on our screens because you know we are all things inspirational. And of course, here today we're delving deep into the conversation of public relations, strategic communications, and most importantly, being a brand. As we talk to Langelihle, she joins us to unpack her story and inspire our young people at home. Langelihle, welcome to Young Climb.
Thank you so much, Belo, and thank you very much to everybody that's tuning in today. And as I've been introduced, my name is Langelihle and I am in PR. I am very passionate about public relations. Thank you for having me.
All right. Just firstly, before we start, the professional conversation, we always like to know our guests more on a personal level because, your background contributes greatly to the person that you become in the future. Langelihle, ukhulele phi, wakuphi, usuka phi?
Oh my God, I am from Mafukula, all the way down in Mhlume, Sheula, Lomahasha, just around there, Elbonjeni.
Okay.
I grew up there with my grandmother. I am an older sister to two brothers. I come from an extended family, so basically I've been grounded a lot, I've been overprotected a lot growing up, but it's been a beautiful journey. I love it, yeah.
And ke lo unye lengithanza kwade ukuthi umuntu wasemafuculo bese sofunda phi primary yakho and your high school, where did you do it?
Basically I did my primary school in Mafucula Primary School.
Okay.
I think back then back to Langelihle Primary School.
Okay.
And then I went to do my Form 1 to Form 5 in Mhlume High School, where I was in SRC. We had SRC back then, so I was the student president in 2017. So I love saying that because, it's one of my greatest milestones. But yeah, that's where I did my high school. It was a beautiful time that I had there. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you have other milestones, but I like that you see that one as your greatest. And then from 2018 all the way to 2021, you managed to obtain a public relations degree at the University of Limpopo. Firstly, why public relations? I don't feel like maybe it was popular at that time. Was it a matter of or it's a conscious decision that you made and you knew while still in high school that public relations?
I am a natural chatty person. I love having conversations. I can talk for hours on end when I'm enjoying a subject.
Yeah.
So public relations came about because I did a lot of debate and public speaking in school, a lot. So I think one day the group public affairs manager, Sifiso Nyembe from Royal Sugar Eswatini Corporation, IRES, which is a school which is an organization, that's there, back home. So he came and they were doing a presentation and I was like, oh my God, this man is so articulate. Like he can,
he can speak.
He can speak, when someone speaks. And they were talking to us and the MD was there as well. And I said, he said he was the group public affairs manager. And I was like, okay, so what does that mean?
Yeah.
I started researching. I was in Form 2 in 2014 then. So I started researching. And then I saw that you can actually pursue it in UNISA, in the University of Eswatini, in Limpopo as well. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I can do communication science. I can do public relations. So he did public relations. LinkedIn was not really a thing at the time, especially because I didn't have a phone. Okay. But I managed to use my mom's phone to actually check. So what's this man's profile? And when I Googled him, it showed that he did communication science, something related to that. And that was when I said, I wanted to do that. I want to do that. So that's why I then decided, you know what? Public relations, I'm chatty, debate and all of that, so PR, and here I am.
So we can basically say, you were inspired by a moment in your life, that very made you what you are today. But also during your university time, what are some of the extracurricular activities that you were a part of which helped you shape or enhance your career?
I really love advocacy, so I did a lot of volunteering at school, Especially when it comes to writing proposals for small nonprofit organizations. I remember we had Girls Empowerment Network. We had another one by Swaga, if I recall correctly. And I also did a lot of emceeing because, like I said, conversations, chatty, and all of that. So those were the ones that groomed me because a lot of organizations, especially the nonprofits, would identify me and say, hey, can you please come and MC this event for us, MC this seminar for us. I remember I did one that stands out for me. I think it's called Jumbo Seminars. We used to have them quite a lot. Okay. There was MD Dibio Dagangwane, Dr. Absalom. You know, I MC'd that one, and that's when I knew that, you know, I did it because he said, your potential is amazing. You know, he said, he just affirmed me. So I did a lot of MC work at school, which really, really contributed to my PR journey and my personal branding as a whole, and my school journey and academic journey as a whole. So yeah. That's what I focused on.
You're definitely a testament that, you know, the little things build us and they build our careers and our professions. Sure. In 2021, while still at school, you did your internship at Nurture, serving as a junior communications coordinator. How was that experience, firstly, you know, being at school, balancing academia and, of course, the professional side of things?
So in 2021 was when I actually did my internship. You know that with LIMCO, when you're doing your internship, that's your graduating or graduation class, basically semester. So you're not really in class as much, but you're expected to deliver. So funny enough, how I got my internship, remember there was COVID. So I'm a COVID graduate. So and funny enough, I actually texted Sipesi Hlengwanyana, who was actually the head of communications then, and on Facebook, imagine, and I said, hey, I would love to do my internship with you. You know, I didn't know where he was, you know, and he said, oh, we have an MOU with your school, come through, not a problem. I'll just link it up and you'll be there. And I said, okay, cool. And a lot of people were actually struggling with their internships, and I got mine through Facebook because I just took a leap of faith and I texted her and she responded, and from there I went for my internship. I had a very great time there. You know, the people were warm. It was my first step into corporate, into the formal world of working. You know, I learned quite a lot there. Learned the value of respecting everyone, from junior staff, from very ground level staff to senior executives, and we did a lot of campaigns and advocacy work, going Svagashele Makaya, you know, talking about HIV and all of that. So it was a great experience and a great journey.
And for me, I think I'd consider you as lucky, but also the luck is paired with hard work and dedication, because you did say that you put yourself out there. What for Facebook? Immediately after your internship at Nurture, you managed to join the Municipal Council of Manzini, which is what most people struggle with. You know, most young people, we are in the internship, but get a job. They unfortunately can't get a job. And you know, you were fortunate enough. Can you just talk about the different responsibilities during that time and just the feeling of being fortunate to have a job and be, you know, stable in corporate?
Joining the Municipal Council of Manzini was also, you know, a beautiful blessing. It's a journey that came from my profile on LinkedIn. I remember I had posted that I was open to assisting with communications work, especially for small companies and small businesses. And then I received an inbox from the head of strategy, Mr. Sizwe Dlamini, who said, hey, you know, we could have something better for you. If you're interested, come through and join us, go through an interview and all of that. So I did that and I joined them. Then there I worked with Mr. Matogoza Twala, who was the communications manager at the time, and it was a great time. We did a lot of campaigns. I got introduced into the media space, getting to know the journalists there. And I'm so happy that, you know, everybody in media now knows me, you know, so he did all the work and he taught me a lot, very valuable lessons, and we did stakeholder engagement. Working in Manzini, you know, it gives you understanding a broader perspective of diversity because everybody goes to Manzini.
Yes.
The whole country goes to
Idolobha la-
Manzini.
la nakagwana ka Manzini.
So you get to experience the feel, the experiences of different people, and they are all stakeholders, and you get to understand the value of dealing with them with all the capacities and categories that they come in.
Yeah.
So it makes you to think wider and broader. And from there, I managed to work with the CEO, and we did a lot of great work profiling her, doing a podcast. You know, I learned a lot from her, and I'm very grateful for her. So my experience in Manzini was not just limited to me doing communications work,
Yes.
but I also functioned as an acting executive assistant to the CEO, to EXCO. So I did a lot of administration work. So I got exposed to a lot of work, and I'm really grateful for the journey that I had there.
You know, it truly sounds like there's a lot of diversity in the, you know, field of public relations. And something that I'd like to highlight is that you move from being an information communications officer to being a communication and stakeholder engagement officer. Those are two different things. Could you just define them for us?
So basically, the stakeholder aspect of PR is when you are focusing on intense stakeholder engagement, meaning everybody who functions in the city of Manzini in this context needs to be engaged in order to understand how they contribute to the city and how the city needs to contribute to them. So we developed an annual stakeholder engagement plan that had about 37 total stakeholders that needed to be engaged for that particular financial year.
Okay.
So I was the one that was doing the groundwork there, and Mr. Matogoza would be the chairperson for those meetings, and all the other employees from the other departments would have to probably give in presentations. So basically the value from that is you are ensuring that there's a syncing relationship between the municipality and the people, because we work for the people and with the people. So they are able to get an opportunity to pour into the mission and vision of the municipality. So we're saying asikhulumisane, asisebenzisane. So I was the one that was doing the running around, organizing meetings and ensuring that minutes are written, reports are concluded and submitted to EXCO and all of that. It's a very big and broader perspective of PR, and it's very important because it's very hard to move forward in communications if the people don't really understand you and if the people are not in sync with you as an entity. So that is what we were trying to do in Manzini, and I believe it's an impeccable project. It's going really well.
A very beautiful story, and of course a beautiful journey, but it definitely continued. You know, after the break we will be talking about how you then moved from Manzini all the way to Mbabane, but I'd say in the same, same space.
True,
yeah.
true.
But that is only when we return. Welcome back. If you just tuned in, you are tuned in to Young Climber with myself, Pelonkosi, and today we are joined by Langelihle. She's been unpacking her very, very interesting story. And what I love the most about you, before we get into the Manzini Mbabane transition, you speak so highly of LinkedIn and how it helped you, grab opportunities, and how you've invested yourself in that that part of social media to better your career and, to find opportunities. And also, you mentioned earlier on that Nisho Sase High School, that's how you found interest, that's how you gained interest. Can we just talk about the role of social media in your career and how it's helped you move from opportunity to opportunity?
I love to say that my social media is my portfolio as a professional and as a person in general. when you're trying to build a brand in this day and age, you cannot leave out social media. You know, what I put on my social media is defined by authenticity over perfection, I'd say. You know, so LinkedIn being the main platform that I use nowadays is my biggest portfolio. You go there, you're going to find my highs, you're going to find my lows, you're going to find my inspiration, you're going to find everything. I put it out there because I've been identified through it, and people are able to relate better if you are being as authentic as you can get. You know, and LinkedIn is where professionals meet globally. You know, I've gotten opportunities for being an MC on LinkedIn and get pocket money. You know, at school, and you know, tertiary has that phase. You know, so the job opportunities came from there because nowadays, my senior professionals, they just go on LinkedIn and say, hey, let me look at your portfolio before your CV, because you're able to zoosh up your CV and it looks better. So in Manzini, one of the greatest strides that I managed to do was do LinkedIn profiles for all the executive managers, you know, and that was really because it spoke highly of the brand of the municipality. So I'd say, as young people, let's not just do dances on TikTok, you know, that is nice. But let's also focus on building our portfolio. No matter you are an intern, no matter you graduate in training, no matter you are a junior professional, make sure that you represent yourself as a brand, because it portrays you as somebody who gets things done. It doesn't matter the magnitude of the assignment. You know, as long as you have a mentality that I want to get things done, then the sky
you're
is
halfway
the limit.
through.
Sure.
All right. Now we talk about the transition. We did say that you moved from Manzini to Mbabane, but in the same space. Were there any changes in the responsibilities Loawa Kanzalana in Mbabane?
I joined Mbabane 2 months ago. Well, smart city is very interesting. It's a very interesting space. I think what Mbabane really ignited in me is that I love local authority. So I'm very proud to say that I'm a young person in local authority. And I can actually invite other young people to join local authority. You know, it's such a very interesting space. You know, if you're in advocacy and your heart is for the people, local authority is the best place to be. We don't just encourage people to pay their rates. You know, we have a lot of interesting programs that we want to actually introduce as that we are doing as local authorities. Being in Mbabane means more innovation. Means more being smart. Think global. Think forward. The responsibilities, I wouldn't say that they are so much different. They are not, but the manner in which they're implemented is very different because it's a different stakeholder now, it's a different group. So we need to think more digital survey, because people here are more onto their phones. You know, whereas in Manzini you could communicate.
There's a diverse group, like you said.
To be able to capture all of them.
Looking at the landscape so far in Eswatini, when it comes to the field of communications, can you say that we have developed, we're moving forward?
I think we are. I think we are. I've seen a lot of PR agencies that are emerging. And people are doing great, but I think there's a lot of ground to cover. In terms of Gushinja Emma perceptions of people. We don't just write press releases. We don't. You know, a lot of people think PR is about writing press releases. PR is about engaging people. It's about my organization and the people of Mbabane being in sync. You know, that is my
You're the bridging
principle. If you need the municipality and you need to understand how the municipality works, I have to be there. You know, stakeholder engagement at its highest. You know, I'm the person that you get through when you need to ensure that service delivery is met. You know, we don't just write press releases. I think that's it has
the misconception,
PR in our country that I've gotten to understand is that that's what we think it is.
Yes.
You know, and the newer generation, which is us, we tend to think it's just about social media marketing. It's not that. It is intense social media marketing. It's digital movement. You know, you need to be able to ensure that people are informed and they are rightfully informed. And that's not a game. You know, you have to wake up in the morning and also be a brand ambassador for the municipality. You know, myself being here right now will speak positively for all the organizations that I've worked for. So that is still PR. You're maintaining positivity because your reputation needs to be directly proportional to that of the organization that you're working for. So that's basically it,
And you know, you've spoken so highly about the municipal councils that you've worked with, but now you've had other things, you know, other milestones to your name. Can you just briefly share your experiences, especially as a YALI alumni? And I'm sure there's much, much more that you can share with us.
YALI stands out for me. Being a Young African Leaders Initiative alumni is a blessing for me because especially when it comes to the global aspect of my network. A lot of people come in and say, oh, you are in YALI, especially on my LinkedIn. Oh, can you please tell me about that? How did you get there and all of that? It opens doors that you would never think of. You find yourself interacting in spaces with people that you could never even, you know, think of. I think last week I got a call from somebody in South Africa and they said, hey, I saw you on your LinkedIn. We have this PR conference in Joburg and I'd love to offer you a ticket if you're open to it. I love the fact that you're a YALI alumni and I'm also a YALI alumni, and we started interacting and it was great. You know, so that's what networking does for you, especially if you're branded with a YALI banner. So it's easier to penetrate certain spaces. I think another one that I have is being able to render a podcast, you know, for Manzini on behalf of the CEO, Morning Coffee with my CEO. A lot of people don't get this, but I was so nervous. I was very nervous because it's like, you
need a podcast.
You need a podcast, you know. Because especially because podcasts is still something that we're still trying to penetrate, especially in municipalities. So I was very scared, but she rode on it and she said, let's go for it. Exco said, let's go for it and let's see, let's watch, and it gained a lot of traction. So I think in my career journey and in my personal journey, those ones, they really, you know, stand out for me.
And then the digital skills that you acquired with
MTN Digital Skills Academy. Oh my goodness. That one came at a time where I just decided, you know what? I want to perfect my LinkedIn marketing skills. And then I started seeing them advertise MTN Digital Skills Academy, which is free, by the way. MTN Eswatini pays for it, and then you just have to go to Coursera, and then you do your program. I think it's 4 weeks, depending on how much time you spend on that particular course. So I did a course called Communications in the Digital Era. So I'm certified with that one. Basically understanding how organizations can actually introduce AI and social media into uplifting their brands. And it played a huge part, a huge role. I'd encourage young people to actually check it out. So
And you know, Langelihle, there's so much that we could speak on and touch base on, you know, but like you said, your life is on LinkedIn. I think even the viewers at home, if they gain much interest from this, you know, conversation, they're more than welcome to check you out. Your authenticity, your life is out there, and they can just learn more, especially about the things that you're doing. But just lastly, our parting question on the show is, what advice would you have for young individuals who are willing to embark on the same journey as you did?
Read. read. That's all I can say. Read. Either you want to be in my space in communications, which I would gladly welcome you in, or you want to be in business, or you want to be wherever. Read.
Yeah.
If you don't read, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
If you spend a lot of time on social media, and look, I have nothing against TikTok, okay? But a lot of us are trapped there.
Yeah.
We just read.
Yeah.
And another one that I can actually insist on, it's my mantra on a daily basis. Do not focus on the bigger assignment and think your success needs to come from there. A lot of the things that made me to develop a great brand that is respected by everybody, I'd say, is me having the ability to deliver on the smallest of the assignments, especially the crazier ideas.
Yeah.
I think CEO in Manzili would tell you,
Yeah.
you know, because I'm just the kind of person who says, give me the platform. It doesn't matter what's the assignment in just be the kind of person that will get things done.
Yeah.
Just get things done. No matter get things done. So that would be my assignment. I mean, that would be my word, my advice that I'd give to young people today.
Well, a big thank you to you, Langa. You know, the advice of reading is definitely fitting because today we are at the Mbabane Library, which is much available to all our young people, not just the young people, everyone who is in and around Mbabane. There's a lot that you can do here. If you need to do your assignments, if you need to read, like Langa has mentioned, this is definitely the space for you. But once again, Langelihle, thank you so much for coming to Young Climber. We hope that this will be inspirational to all the young people or those that are watching here. And just in the PR nayo ayincinyane, you know, it's such a big industry like you have already mentioned, and there's so much to do just within that field. But once again, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, Babugela Makaya, that was it with today's conversation. The PR, which is of course public relations. We spoke strategic communications with Langelihle Mabila. We'll be back next week, Tuesday, 6:30, unpacking another beautiful story right here in the Kingdom of Eswatini. But for myself, Tabitha Dlamini, and the crew, it is good night and God bless.